Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
Oh, hey, how's it going? I don't know what happened. I did an interview like an hour and a half ago, but I didn't see anything coming through. So
Yeah, no worries. Zoom's kind of crazy like that.
I know.
I figured you had something going on too long, and we could hop on later or reschedule or whatever. No
No,
problem.
I have an interview with Malcolm McDowell in half an hour, but so we're good.
Malcolm McDowell, that's amazing.
I know.
Awesome, dude. That's great.
Clockwork Orange, right? The classic.
Among other things, yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. How are you?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. As you see, I got my Christmas tree finally up. I got a real one, so
Nice. And you're in Chicago, right?
I'm in Chicago. How about yourself?
I'm in Vegas. I'm in
Vegas? Is that your?
I love Chicago, though. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm sure you've been here a lot of times on tour and not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a Midwest guy. I'm from Ohio, so
That's right. Yeah, you're nearby
Chicago's
too.
the best of both worlds, big city and Midwest mentality. I can't do the cold anymore, man. I'm too old. I can't handle it. I love going back and visiting for a couple of days, but I can't bear it.
You know, the funny thing is that I was living in LA for the past 2 years, and I kind of came back because of the pandemic. I've been here back since July. And yeah, I forgot about the December with like 70 degrees, and now it's like 32 today.
Yeah. Hey, that's all right. 32. It's when it gets into like the low teens and scraping the ice off that stuff and the crushing roads. I can't do it anymore. I'm like,
you've been through it all,
yeah.
Ohio's not far away, so they're the same thing, right?
Yep, absolutely.
How's life? How's everything with you going on?
Good. For me, it's been busier during the pandemic. Thank God. I mean, I like being at home anyway, so it's not that much of a change for me. So, 90 degrees. We've been back for the last 7 years touring, but we kind of structured it to where we just do weekends. We're home with our families and doing other business, and then on the weekends we go have a good time and with our fans and all that stuff. But yeah, during the pandemic, I had a couple things that I had been stalling on with regards to creating stuff and doing a bunch of unscripted stuff and producing some movie stuff and some scoring and created a streaming platform that's about to launch here in about 3 months. And, just keeping super busy. It gave me time to focus on some other things, but it's been good for me. Thank God everybody's safe and healthy here. I mean, the pandemic's terrible, but if there is a positive on it, it's, seeing, the opportunity to take care of some things you might have been putting on the back burner for a while.
Yeah, that family time, even for myself, being back in the Midwest isn't too bad. Get to be around family and kind of, in a sense, it's crazy what's going on in the world and nothing's good about it, but there's always something you can take positive about a situation. And
Sure.
It's kind of good reconnecting with family and friends, in that way. This has allowed us because we're always on the go usually, in life and always doing something.
Yeah, no doubt.
What are some of these businesses? I mean, I've been seeing you on, LinkedIn a lot, and you're always got something going on. You're a really creative guy, and you're just always working on different things. I saw you recently partner up with a charity, which was super cool. Tell me about that. Tell me about some of these projects that you're working on, whichever ones you can share about. I'm interested in this streaming platform that you got going on too.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, obviously, since pandemic, there've been some ones that have really been emerging, like Patreon. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, or OnlyFans, which was traditionally known as an adult site, but people were putting on their content to monetize. About a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I was approached by a blockchain company to promote a platform that allowed artists to monetize in a lot better ways and if more efficient ways than some of the other platforms. I mean, YouTube's great, but you got to get millions of streams to really make any real money out of that.
Right.
And you have to be extraordinarily popular to monetize that. And you don't make any money off of Instagram or Facebook, and you don't get the analytics of your fans. So when I was talking to these guys, I started helping them develop a platform. They ended up going away, and their platform ended up not being a legitimate situation, but the silver lining there was I met their tech guy, and we started developing something that's very artist and fan friendly, rewarding to both in a more efficient and exciting and engaging way. So we basically took all these things that are out there individually, like the Cameos of the world and the Looped and monetizing and locking and unlocking content, pay-per-view events, subscription models, anything you can think of, integrating advertising, creating your own merch store that's really efficient along with affiliate fees, and just sort of melding that into one place. And that's been in development. And certainly is pertinent and relevant now during the pandemic. But I think that since people have figured out, this is a way you can make money in a way, we're going to allow something that provides somebody a really effective service that allows not just people that are already famous, but the guy that has, his 100 loyal fans at a club that he does weekly, or a female singer-songwriter, or any content creator, a gamer, an artist influencer, allows them to get more bang for their buck for the content that they create, which is the way it should be. And provide them with analytics. So we provide them with the analytics of their fans, their most efficient fans. And it's just a really, really cool platform that I'm very proud of. I'm finishing up some of the back end tech on that. And we want to provide people with, data about their fans, that fans want to provide them so they can make their business more efficient. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you're in the entertainment business. It is a business.
Yep.
And a lot of people capitalize that from the top down, and it really should be organic. It should be, you create something, it has a demand, you should be rewarded the lion's share of that. And that's what we're going to work on.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's going to be helpful. Like you mentioned, there's so many people that do Twitch now. There's so many different streaming platforms where people create great content, self-produced in a lot of ways. But the monetizing that I just spoke to earlier today to kind of an expert in podcasting and stuff like that. And we were actually kind of talking about this topic, how, self-monetization is, for so much content people are being created, it's not being, they're having struggles with that. So this could be a huge.
Even for this podcast, your following and my fans could be watching this, and we could have an option for them to tip. Now, certainly we would go, don't tip us, and we're not trying to push for tipping or look desperate, but you could affiliate it with the charity. And as we're talking about things, they can everything is in a token form. They can tip, and it can go toward a charity or toward a cause, or you could split it with a guest that's you're introducing to the public. That's just one way that this platform works. And we feel like all content should be able to be monetized, and you can't just cross your fingers and hope that it goes viral, because the odds in something like that are very rare, as you know. And say you've got 100 loyal fans, well, you know what? 100 loyal fans can actually give you a way to create a lifestyle based on your content, and you see who those loyal fans are, and you have the ability to reward them back with these tokens and give them perks for being loyal fans, or give them these video meet and greets or these phone calls. There's so many bells and whistles within the tech that are being built in. It's just, we feel like it's going to be really cool, and hopefully it'll be a game changer for a lot of these content creators.
I think it is. It sure sounds like it, because if you can go to one place and have so many options from that one platform instead of juggling a bunch of different ones, I think that's, for different creatives, I think it's going to be tremendous. And I think the timing's now perfect, for something like that. So wow, I'm excited. I'm excited about seeing this. Do you have a name figured out for it yet? Or
we have some working titles, but look, it's interesting with regards to trademark. It used to be when you create trademarks, different businesses could use the same name. So if I'm a newspaper business, I have this, or if I'm a construction business, I can be called the same as the newspaper business. But now with the lines blurred with technology and marketing promotion, that's why you have weird names like Quibi and Twitter and Twitch and all these other ones, because a lot of those names are trademarked. So we're going through that process and doing our research with that. And then it has to be something that has to be affiliated with the description of what this is. So, that and then marketing that is tremendously important. So whatever name that is, that's an important step for this, as much as the tech is and as much as the marketing is. Finding that name that's really important, that is affiliated with the platform, is an undertaking. So we're throwing around a bunch of things and doing our research there, but hopefully we'll come up with something good that people will automatically know that's what this does.
Oh, I'll be in tune for this too, because this affects me too as a content creator too.
Hopefully we'll get you over there and you'll be like, man, just by putting my stuff up, I'm not even actively pushing it, but people like it, and so they're rewarding me with a monetary sort of stipend with it. Hopefully it'll work for you too.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be on this for sure. Tell me about the charity work. You've always been involved in charity too. I think it's so cool that you partner up. I want you to kind of go into it and explain. I think it's awesome what you're doing.
Involved with a lot of them. The most recent one from the guy from Imagine Dragons, 85% of it goes to the charity, which is, look, especially now, people don't have money to go throwing around to this, even though if they're philanthropic, you know, because the economy's down, people aren't working in the ways that they did in the past. So, you know, hitting people up for causes, although they want to give back, a lot of times people realize that the lion's share doesn't go to the charity. With regards to this foundation, it goes to it. And, you know, I'm involved with St. Jude. I'm involved with Race to Erase, Elizabeth Glazier. I mean, just a number of them. You know, I feel I'm obligated to give back. I'm very blessed to have a successful career and still have it this many years later, and have fans coming out in droves to our shows and still, you know, supporting us. And we're obligated to give back. And this is just another example of that.
That's fantastic. You know, and it's always, there's something in life, there's a thing in life where when you give back what you get, you know, it always comes forward, you know, that just the rule of life in so many ways that, you know, when you're generous with your, you know, good things happen to you, you know, by nature.
Yeah, I think it's all about that intention. You're exactly right, and that goes for both ways. You know, if you do things, you know, not in an appropriate way,
right,
in the wrong ways, it's going to catch up with you too. I mean, so that's just the law. Like you said, that's a law. It's the law of the universe or nature. It's everything's reciprocated, but you know, it's about your intention too. The intention isn't, I'm going to do this because some good stuff's coming back. The intention is you go in with it with blind faith, saying, and the goals is, I'm going to go help people. If it comes back, cool. If it doesn't, cool. You know, it makes me feel better as a person, and knowing that I can provide somebody with some sort of relief or comfort in their lives. So, you know, I feel like that has to be, you know, the gestation of everything. It has to come from a good place.
No question. You've been involved with some like TV work too and production over the years too. I know the Men of the Strip, that's something you were heavily involved with. A friend of mine, Josh Sider, I think was involved with that back in the day, or when I know I heard about it from him that you were involved with it back.
Right. Yeah. You know, so Men of the Strip was a fun experience. I had hosted the Chippendales very reluctantly. I mean, I was like, man, people are going to think I'm a stripper. And you know, my wife said, look, go check the show out. It was a really well done professional Vegas show. It's a show. So it's not like a strip club, and all these preconceived ideas that I had about it were out the window. It was a well-produced show. It was a great experience for me being the host of something like that. It broke a lot of records in Vegas at the time, but I also saw an opportunity to create something really hip and current. Not that the Chippendales isn't cool, but make a cooler version of it. This is pre-Magic Mike, of course. I did it.
Right.
Everybody said, it's taboo. It's not going to work. It's you can't. And then Channing Tatum does it. It's, you know.
Right. You were before this. There's
right.
proof of this.
You know, it's $1 billion business, but nonetheless, it was a great experience. We had some really great partners with the creative on it. I had a really good choreographer and a guy that constructed the show. We took it on tour. Those guys sold out 42 shows in 49 days and ultimately did a small thing on the E-Network and was a big success. And then I did a show for Science Channel called Drone that ended up getting syndicated in a bunch of countries. And, you know, getting back to what we were talking about during, you know, pre-COVID, I had a bunch of these unscripted shows that I had, you know, thrown around. I've got some really great partners. Look, I can never claim credit for all this stuff. I always am able to assemble great teams of guys and gals that have, you know, great creativity and marketing sense and savvy and business sense to them. And we've got a couple of really, really strong shows that are coming out on the horizon with regards to unscripted, and in talks to do a couple of scripted things as well. And, you know, people are always like, well, you just want to do this so you can be on TV. No, I'm behind the scenes on 90%.
Right, yeah, you're the creative behind this, exactly.
I'd much rather be behind the scenes. I love getting up on stage, but there isn't one time ever that I can't remember getting nervous beforehand. You know, once you get up there, it's like riding a bike, but I have an anxiety about me that, you know, makes me, every time I'm about to go on stage, wonder why I'm doing it until I get up there and it's a blast and we have fun. But
yeah,
I enjoy being behind the scenes as much as in front.
Fantastic. You know, it's so funny because it almost seems with all you've done over the years, like you being in a band, it was like a lifetime ago, you know, but it wasn't that long ago. I mean, I grew up, I was a teenager listening to your music for sure growing up, but it's almost like you had two different lifetimes in a way. You know, obviously you guys are now husbands and fathers and all that, but how long ago does it seem, or does it seem like yesterday maybe that you were performing, you know?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you were like, you know, constantly on the road and in the height of 98 degrees.
It almost does. I was thinking just about that yesterday.
Mhm.
It almost seems like I've had several lives. Like I had my
Yeah.
life growing up with my family, then the life with the group, and then life now as a father. And then it's like, but I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm getting old. I don't feel like I'm old enough to have experienced all that stuff, if it makes any
Mhm.
sense. I still feel, because we had a job where we have to stay fit and feel young and look young, because marketing's part of it, and your fans want you to look good, and doing all that, I don't feel mentally like a almost 50-year-old guy. I feel like I'm still in my 20s, and in essence, I feel mentally sharper because I'm always trying to learn more. I'm always on the go. There's no time to sit around and just, become lethargic or complacent, because there's always a hustle going on. Even if you have success, you know that somebody's right behind you ready to hop over you and take your place.
Yep.
And it's a feast or famine business. So when you're hot, you're hot. And when people think you're not hot, and I've been in all those places in various degrees, and then you're not as cool. And then there's that window until you can become cool again. Well, I'm almost 50. So those windows aren't going to happen as much. So you try to seize the day as much as you can and get as much out of it as you can and put as much into it as you can. So, for me, I feel like I've gotten to experience several different journeys, and I feel like there's still more on the horizon, and I'm trying to learn as much, but now I'm starting to teach folks about things like my kids and my wife and my friends and other artists and entrepreneurs about the pitfalls and the high highs and low lows of all of the journey of this, and
Yeah.
maybe perhaps provide them an opportunity to not experience the bottom coming out of it, and just kind of be able to stay smooth on the current.
Mm-hmm. How close are you with the guys? I mean, you guys are obviously still getting back together, and like you said, you were doing shows on the weekends when things were, we could see shows before the pandemic. But have they become like lifelong brothers? Now you're in different stages of your life. Then you guys are young and single. Now you have kids, your parents. Like, how is it now? How is that friendship over the years? Has the bond grown stronger between you guys? What has it been like over all these years?
I think you're exactly right. I mean, look, the three other members knew each other. Nick and Drew were brothers, obviously. They grew up with Dustin. And I had another group that, those guys ended up quitting. And I was introduced to Nick through somebody that went to school with him in California. And we got together out there. So I didn't know them as much. But, look, and we were thrown right into the fire. Like, we were out there singing for our supper, a cappella, and then got signed, and then,
Yeah.
After that, shortly after, we were one of the biggest groups in the world for about 5 years. So, it was a lot to take on as young men, and especially all being from the Midwest and from Ohio, and I'm from a really small town. Those guys are from a little bigger city in Cincinnati, Ohio, but you're never prepared for what the business throws at you. You have your preconceived ideas by watching TV. Back then, it was just TV. There wasn't the internet, and there wasn't this ability to indulge and engage and sort of take in all this information. So you only saw what was on TV, and you didn't know as much behind the curtain as everybody else does now. But it was a lot to be thrown at to undertake. And so, yeah, while we were friends and excited about doing it and enjoyed a lot of success together, we weren't as close because it was a constant pressure of making sure that we stayed up in front and were able to succeed. And years later, now we look back and it's like, what a blessing to have had those opportunities, to have this 1 in 50 million chance of selling 10 million records and touring the world. And then not only that, getting to revisit it in our 40s and have the fans as excited about us as they were back then. And sometimes, in some cases, more. It's a blessing. So we reflect on it. We've become super, super close. And you want to say, yeah, I mean, it's almost like a brotherhood. We were close back then. But, look, a lot of things, the business can really take you in different directions and throw you for a loop. But now it's just, super icing on the cake for us. And it's all fun. I mean, there isn't a really, back then it seemed like it was like always pushing the boulder uphill. And now it's just like, we're riding a sled downhill. It's a blast. So yeah, we love each other, and we're lucky to have gone through this very unique experience together.
Very few will ever, like you mentioned, kind of go through the height of where you guys were at. I mean, there's few of those groups, NSync, Backstreet Boys, that kind of understand that too at your time. But is it as glamorous in a sense, and as the perceived world sees it, like these guys are, such mega stars, they probably have all the women, all the money and fame and fortune, or is there a side of it that also that, there's the pressures of it and kind of constantly being in the spotlight that people don't realize? What kind of is it like in the moment to be, in a sense, seemingly on top of the world and be known worldwide? Is it as glamorous as it appears, or there's really kind of some tough times to go through too?
Well, nothing's easy. So when you see these guys or gals on, social media or the TMZs of the world, or the news magazines or whatever you watch or get your information, and they're having these meltdowns, and you're like, oh, I couldn't handle it, I don't feel bad for them. Look, nothing's easy. Nothing's easy in this world. No job is easy, whether it's in the entertainment business or not. Is it? Yeah, it's glamorous. I mean, riding on private jets and girls everywhere and lots of money, it's there, but it doesn't come without a price. Okay, so
Right.
at some point you're making some sort of sacrifice, whether it's time with your family or whether you're having to do things you don't want to do and you're forced into those situations. And then you look, I mean, there are teams of people that are ready to jump on board when you're hot, and take and look, not everybody is out there. In fact, very few people are out there with your best interest at hand. And so in that process, it is treacherous. There are high highs and low lows. And I mean, look, I would say as sexy as some of the things are, there's that opposite side that it's more torturous than a lot of people can imagine. But, going in, you might not know what you're getting into, but as you're involved with it, you always can have the choice to walk away, right? So look, some of those trappings are enticing, and so you're like, hey, I'm going to put up with this, and I'll do this. And so it's, it definitely makes you question your character, and it's, if you're introspective. If you're not, and you're just, believing the hype and going full steam ahead with the journey the way it appears to be, and buying into the false part of it, you can get caught, and you can get yourself in trouble. But if you have everything in perspective, you can come through it, with less bumps and bruises, and with a tremendous experience that's unique and not a lot of people get to go through. So, it's a blessing to have done it. I don't have any regrets. I'm one of those people that never has any regrets. Even if I did a bunch of wrong things, I would change some things, but I don't have any regrets because I try to change them into learning experiences.
Right.
But ultimately, yeah, it's glamorous, but it doesn't come without a price, for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. I get that side of it. Just, speaking to a lot of people who have been at their highest highs and experienced these things, it's not what it's always perceived to be in so many ways. Was there ever a boy band war between you guys and NSync and Backstreet? Were you guys generally buddies? How was it? Because then you see over the years, I mean, you work with Sure Shot. I mean, you work with Chris and so many of the other boy band guys. I remember that. What was kind of in the height of it? Were you guys friends, or was this competition that everyone from the outside viewed there was?
Well, look, there's competition within the business, within your group, right? I mean, who's going to sing lead, or who's going to, so there's competition there. So there's always a level of competition. And look, the Backstreet Boys they're selling 100 million records and we're selling 10. They're on Jive and we're on, Motown and Universal, and they don't quite know what to do with this. And then NSYNC comes out and they're massive. So, do we covet some of the things that those guys had and some of the teams and certainly their talent? Absolutely. But no, I mean, we absolutely adored all the members of both of those groups. We were on a lot of shows together. We toured some places in Europe with some of them. And, when you're looking at similar groups and groups you're compared to, you have nothing with respect for them, because they're going through the same journey that you're going through. And those guys are all talented guys. And certainly, young men back in the day, were hating on us and saying that we were put together. Our group put ourselves together, and that we didn't have talent, and we lip synced, and all we do is dance, and those guys dance and we didn't. I mean, look, there's a bunch of haters and stuff like that back in the day.
Right.
There still are to an extent. That comes with the territory. But a lot of those guys are now, grown up and come around. It's just, your typical jealousy. But with us, with the other groups, nothing but admiration and respect for them, their journey, and their talent. And it's been like that. And them as folks. All those guys are great guys, fun to hang out with, fun to party with, fun to talk with, and in-depth conversation. and absolutely admire all of those guys and all the groups. I know it's not the popular, I know it's the popular thing to say. Oh yeah, we threw blows outside of the tour bus at Kiss FM. I mean, it just never happened. We just were like, you guys performed, you guys killed it. You're amazing. Have some beers. Talk about similar experiences. There's a camaraderie there, and so again, total kudos to all those guys.
I've been going down the wormhole, rabbit hole in a sense of like watching back your videos. For some reason, I've been on a fix of because the music I grew up with, being a teenager back in the day. I remember you guys vividly and all that. And I've been kind of looking back at it, I've decided my favorite song and my favorite, I think, video in a sense was for Give Me Just One Night.
Okay, all right.
I love that song. I thought the song was awesome. I mean, besides all the other ones I really enjoyed too, but I love that song, but the video was so wild. I keep on thinking now, watching that, like, why did Nick get abducted later on by his buddies and on the boat? I mean, you guys were having so much fun in that video. I love the windbreakers. You guys were wearing those pants. I mean, it's just classic stuff when you watch back now and you see the comments. I mean, there's people commenting right now. Oh, I'm watching this in 2020. It's so cool to see. And there's battles about, is Jeff hotter than Nick? It just made me like chuckle and laugh and smile all at the same time, kind of going back through all that.
Yeah, listen, you have the same questions that we do. Why are we wearing what we're wearing? Why does Nick get kidnapped? So when we were filming it, the guy that was the director was really renowned for his cutting edge, coolest video. Like he was doing Ricky Martin's videos and Will Smith's, and then ended doing NSync and winning awards for Britney. So he had his own vision. And so we were like, okay, whatever you say, Wayne, your videos are putting us on the map. So why is Nick getting kicked? Don't ask. Just get in the boat. Okay, cool. And we're kidnapping him away from a hot girl. So your questions are the same as ours. We didn't quite know, but nonetheless, people like that song. They love the visuals of it. And, we were lucky to be on the receiving end of the accolades of something like that. So
yeah, no question. Do you have a favorite? Is there all of them kind of your favorite? Do you have a specific favorite video and song that you worked on, or it all kind of?
I liked all of them. I think the one that really, we had a song called Invisible Man from our first album that hit the charts, but, the label's sort of marketing plan was to keep us off behind the scenes, not show our picture, make people think we were an urban group, and it really didn't work. So we had this great song, which is one of my favorites, and it made it into the top 10 on some charts, but nobody knew we were the Invisible Men. So, I have an affinity for all the videos, and it was a great opportunity to be a part of all those songs. But I think because of you, when that song came out, TRL had just emerged, and they slapped that on TRL, and overnight, we were a huge success. And I also have my stories about going on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, and I'm afraid of heights, and I thought I was going to die. And so, getting up and getting out of that comfort zone and being part of that video was really cool. And it's just it was an amazing experience, to have everybody previously on our last record, which we were really proud of, tell us they don't want us to be seen, and then to be presented to the world on a really popular pop culture cutting edge show like TRL at the time, and for us to be coming out and presented that way, I was like, okay, this is gonna really do something for us. The excitement I had when I saw the first cut of the video I was bubbling with excitement. Oh, they're actually gonna show people what we look like. That's great. So it was that's probably my favorite one.
That's awesome. Well, I could be going on till tomorrow with all these questions and stuff. Just wanted to catch up with you. Maybe we can do a part 2 on this because there's so much more to talk about. And
anytime, man. Thanks for having me. Congrats on all your success. I know I read your bio and all the great stuff that you've done in your career so far, and I know you've got a long road ahead of you. But I appreciate. I'm honored you had me on today. And again, yeah, let's do a part 2 anytime you want.
Absolutely. I'd love to. I have so much more to touch on and to get to know. And I think it's cool. I'm sure people are going to enjoy catching up with you again and see all the stuff that you've been up to, in your ventures, and we can catch up about so I'd love to do it again. Whenever you're free after holidays or whatnot, we can catch up again and finish it up.
You got it, man. Thanks again, and enjoy your family. Enjoy the holidays.
Jeff, definitely stay safe and healthy to you and your kids and your wife, and Merry Christmas, the best way we can have it during now.
Thanks, man. Stay safe. Thank you.
Yeah. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.